All right, guys, going live, sending invites out to some people willing to talk about just about anything. Uh, I'm sure all the people on Twitch are loving the title, but you know, you got to kick that hornet nest every now and then. You know what I mean? Keeps them honest. I am painting my Heretic Legion Trench Ghost army finally. What's weird is I'm super into like the trench pilgrims. I don't even like the bad guys that much, but I seem to be spinning. I mean, I think I'm going to have this trench ghost army finished before I even get my trench pilgrims done. Of course, these guys are easy, to paint. They're pretty easy to paint. Hey, how you doing, Shadow? Keep up the good work. Well, I don't know unless you're talking about my painting. And yes, I am painting trench ghosts, which, as the lore says, are the forces of hell who were killed in battle too close to a holy artifact. So their spirits could not go to hell. And of course, their spirits couldn't go to heaven either. So they are trapped in the muddy, bloody trenches. Pretty much think D&D whites, and being dead makes it where they hate all living beings. So even though they're on the heretic side, they will straight up attack a heretic army if it comes near them. They'll attack anyone that comes near them. Oh, kicking hornets' nests. I like kicking hornets' nests. It keeps life interesting. I mean, you can tell if any artards come in here because they'll be Twitch. Like the guys who come in from YouTube, even the new guys, generally speaking, they're decent. It's typically the if they got a Twitch symbol next to their name, that's the one is going to be fun. Sorry for the shaky camera. I am using the desk here. It's where my palette is, and I'm doing a lot of dry brushing. A good thing about going over a miniature with that final dry brush step is you can find all the parts of it that you missed. Like this guy right here has a upside down cross on his back that I missed. So I'm going to have to remember to get that. And how I'll do that is I'll put him in the tray. Since they're magnetized, I can just store them in one of these trays while I'm painting them. Hungar says he wants to play heretics, but he didn't say trench ghosts, so don't know. Maybe heretic soldiers. I'm not a fan of the heretic soldiers that this company put out. The bodies are okay. I don't like the heads. So I printed out some bodies, but then I found a STL guy that had STLs for the heads for the Warhammer 40K Blood Pact, because all the members of the Blood Pact wear these demonic, grotesque masks. It's just kind of part of their gig, They like to soak their uniforms in the blood of the people they kill, and they wear these brass masks that got like teeth and big hook noses, and sometimes, there's multiple different types of mask, but the point is they wear demonic, grotesque looking masks, right? So the mortal heretic troopers that I paint or instead of getting the basic German Stell helm and, basically just looking like German soldiers that are a little bit different, they're actually going to have, demonic helmets, with, demonic faces. And I might paint their helmets. Well, the helmets I'll paint whatever color the uniform is, but the masks I might paint like a brass color or red, something out there so that people understand that they're wearing masks. I mean, I guess it could depend on like which Lord of Hell they have affiliated themselves to, because different Lords of Hell. If you've ever read the Ars Goetica, that different minions of hell, let's say, have different planets they rule over, colors that are associated with them, directions, etc. It gets pretty hardcore because, I mean, a lot of people, I've had to say, look, as a Christian, I'm okay with this because I'm not worshiping devils and painting the forces of hell so that my Christian good guys can whip their ass. I'm okay with that. You know what I mean? Um, but it's different than 40K because at no point did I ever actually believe the emperor was, the god emperor, right? Or that Slanesh and all that were anything other than fantastical make believe. But with this game, it gets a little wilder because, when they talk about demonic forces and stuff like that, the best 7 demons to roll. See, in Trench Crusade, their idea of the demons that rule hell is misguided. First off, they try to sell and if you want to join, the link's up there, but they try to sell the idea that the demonic forces are not united, and that's simply blasphemous to even say because it goes directly against Christ. Now, you could argue that they're all vying and doing stuff because they're being manipulated by Satan to do the thing that they're doing. But no, the forces of hell are not fighting against each other unless it is the will of their master that they do so. I mean, that's just basic theology right there, right? So, demons, though, well, greed is Moloch. Yeah, exactly, Matthew. Greed is Moloch, and in the lore it's Moloch, and that one, yeah, okay. Moloch, yes. And then for what is it? Gluttony, I guess they picked Beelzebub, which honestly makes no sense to me, but whatever. I did a whole video about this actually. I should just be lazy and link your ass to the video I did and be like, go watch it. Like how I explain in the video that Satan, like the forces of hell, don't want to win because they can't. But there's more to it even than that, right? If Lucifer unleashes his army and it kills a bunch of brave Christian men who are holding the line at New Antioch, every one of those souls is immediately ascended to heaven because they all died martyrs defending the faith, right? At least, that's my understanding in Orthodoxy. So how would that help Lucifer's plan? because the plan always has been, since the creation of man, to harm God. And the only way to harm God is to serve his favored creation, or to cause his favored creation to betray him. So killing mortal forces is literally the worst thing that they could do for, their actual goal. I don't think the people who wrote the game actually, know a lot about theology, even though supposedly the guy who does the art and the lore went to a Christian school. But see, so that's what the thing is the demonic forces, if they are vying against each other, it's because Lucifer is making them, because he does not want them to win. They can't win. And it has nothing to do with when the trumpet blows, and Michael and Jesus come back and all that. And, the saints and then the devils get their asses whipped. It has more to do with the goal to hurt God. If the demons run out and they kill all the Christians, they did not hurt God, as much as God would have been hurt if they had corrupted the Christians. So, yeah, that's why I think, even though I don't think the guy who, like I said, I don't think the guy who wrote the lore actually thought about it, but that's my thought. Why would all the demons of hell be competing against each other and doing all this crazy shit and not, because their master has set them up that way, because he is, after all, the Lord of Deception, right? So you might have a army devoted to Belphegor, let's say, fighting against an army devoted to Payman. And both of these are presidents or kings or lords of hell, and should be on the same side, but not if their master has chosen to convince them not to be on the same side for some reason. So, yeah, that exactly. Hell, okay, the forces of hell knew from the moment they lost the rebellion that they were never going to win. And that's one of the reasons in the game there's the compact, which says no purely demonic or angelic thing can take part in the battle. And they had to do that because, how would you stat out the Archangel Michael for a game of Trench Crusade? You know what I mean? It'd be like, I'm playing one miniature, it's going to be the Archangel Michael, and we're not playing a game because you just pick up your shit and go. It's over. It's done. You can't win. Good game, high five, but this is and that's before we bring the J-Man into it. You know what I'm saying? I'm just talking about the Archangel Michael. Could completely eviscerate every one of the infernal forces in Trench Crusade in less than a day. So that's why that had to be part of the game. But yeah, the demons, not only can they not win, they don't want to. The longer they can drag the war on, the more miserable they can make humans, the more likely the humans will, under weakness, bend the knee to hell and then damn themselves, therefore hurting God. Right? I got my trench about done, but I've got set up over there and I can't show it to you. But it's actually 2 trenches across from a no man's land. And I've built a ton of scatter terrain to go with it, like a barbed wire. And here's some of it. I've got, dragon's teeth and hedgehogs and barbed wire everywhere. And of course, I've decorated a lot of it with crosses and stuff. And it's all rusty looking. And here are a couple of tanks that didn't print as good as I would like, which means they're going to become rubble. You know, like this one, I did that. It printed perfect, and then I broke the track off on accident. So I'll drill a hole in it, and then I'll punch the hole to make it look all shattered and stuff. And then I'll put it on a base, and it'll be a dead Fiat. Actually, I keep calling them Fiats. These are Renault FTs.
Yo.
So how you doing, man?
Doing good.
You are quiet. Let me see.
Oh,
Can I
sorry
turn
about
you up?
Sorry about that.
If you stop me up, I'll never stop. I think a lot of people that don't know about Trench Crusade don't like talking about it.
Oh no, they don't. Of course they don't. It's like the I'm trying to do an OD&D like take on essentially it's kind of like Trench Crusade a little bit, but my assumption is the Roman Catholic position essentially. And it's like if you like the Muslims are not the good guys. There's like there's even like incursions into the Orient, like because there were like Spanish or no Portuguese and Dutch ports in Japan, so they're trying to take over Japan. The Spanish are trying to conquer South America, but the English in my version, I had a little deviation where Richard the Crookback, Richard III of England, the reason why he went crazy and put his nephews in the towers because he genuinely believed that if they came to rule England, if the Woodvilles came to power, then they would revert into heresy. And well, he was kind of right.
Do you mean become Protestant?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
So, I'm just trying to figure out, like, I have like classes already lined, well, races anyway. That
the default view of Trench Crusade is the Catholic view.
Yeah, there's also the Roman Orthodox, because I think like the shrine
they do have a lot of Orthodox stuff in it.
Yeah,
but
I mean Roman Catholic.
Still it's still it's the Vatican City is still the big thing.
Yeah,
that's the good guys.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, the Orthodox sometimes are the bad guys.
Really?
Yeah, because like Orthodox, what I call them, trench pilgrims. There are some Orthodox trench pilgrims that refuse to accept anything that has been added to Scripture or anything from the original Bible, because of course the Pope has added more precepts to deal with the fact that hell is on earth, right? And there are some Orthodox Christians that are just so hardcore about that they're like, nope, we reject all your shit. And it does cause issues between the factions, because it's like,
well, I mean if I remember correctly, there are Orthodox the Orthodox position in Trench Crusade, some of them just say we don't allow for suicide bombers. We don't allow for.
They don't like communicants. That's it.
Communicants. They don't like them either. Or just not just communicants. They hate all the concept of the mutations based on the Metachrist.
Yeah, anything having to do with the Metachrist is just right out.
Mm-hmm.
Just go ahead and ignore that shit, because they ain't doing it.
Yep.
However, it does say that some Russian bands will capture a communicant from another trench pilgrim group and then basically force it to fight as a form of making it redeem its own existence.
And I'm like Like, guys, you don't have that luxury, you know.
Well,
To
they think they
wait.
do because trench pilgrims are crazy.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, they've
yeah.
all been contacted by a saint or angel or God himself, and they are convinced 100%. Every single trench crusade army is 100% convinced that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing.
For some reason, my bloody 1 sec. Give me a sec. I may have to leave, and cause, like, my screen has frozen for some reason. Just give me a sec.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell's happened. My computer's fucked.
Sorry, bro.
No, it's fine. It's just. I don't know. I don't know what to do. So I might have to leave and come back in. So just give me a sec.
Okay.
So you just keep chatting away.
I will. I'll just keep chatting away like a gibbering monkey. Watched Unchained and Unwhatever DM talk about his stuff and his classic game he's doing, and it was really cool. However, I gave him a thumbs up, and it didn't, like, the number stayed at 0. So I hope that YouTube isn't pissed off at, DM Bloodworth. It's like, I can't imagine what he could ever have done that would, like, the guy is such a good guy, a public school teacher in New York and all that. Like, well, he was. Anyway, I'm not trying to dox him, but I'm just saying he's a good guy with a good heart. And because you would have to have one to do what he does and or did. Leth Oldest, the angry elf. What is up, Mr. Leth?
Not much. Game tomorrow, I guess.
Well, that's good. You haven't gamed since last whenever?
For a while now. Last game was supposed to be last week on Sunday, but that one got canceled till this March.
Well, that happens,
Yeah.
I mean, is it hard to find online games? I wouldn't think that it would be, really.
It's mostly just scheduling conflicts, mainly.
Oh, well, that's offline games too.
Yeah.
Like me.
People have to work, or they might get sick or something.
Yeah, it wasn't easy for me to find an actual group of people. What's up,
hey? I heard the shout out in a roundabout way to me in your D&D is dead, long live D&D video.
Well, because we were talking about, and
it was like sort of a shout out. I felt it.
Yeah. Well, obviously, man. If I have the opportunity to say something nice about the bros, I'm going to do it. Well,
of course, same here, man.
And it's like I said, if you're a 5e guy, that Shadow Dark might be your thing.
I'm not a big fan, to be honest, of Shadow Dark. Like, it's too simplistic for me.
That's what you said. But I'm talking about people like Garrity.
No.
That are so obsessed with like 5e or 6e or something. And it's like,
I was
that
going to
could be
play
your thing, man. And plus, if you're like a purple-haired maniac, I mean, that game was written by a person that's not a straight white cis male, whatever.
A friend of Dorothy.
So, I mean, it's hitting all the boxes over here.
No, but for me as a game, if I was like, okay, you got to play either Shadow Dark or you got to play 5e, I'll be like, 5e, please.
Well, I mean,
early 5e, please.
Yeah, basic 3 books 5e is not bad.
Yeah, exactly. You need a player's handbook, a DMG, and a monster manual, and then play 5e. Maybe one expansion book like Xanathar's. You know what I mean? Like, it was
maybe, but
or no, the Forgotten Realm, the Sword Coast Adventure Guide, maybe.
Yeah.
Let's just remake Defiance and let's just make the Pool of Radiance, remake Pool of Radiance, and play through that.
Or alternately, take their basic rules that they put in Lost Mines of Phandelver, which you used to be able to get as a PDF on their site. I don't know if you can anymore. And just use that.
Yeah.
You know, and you'll play forever and have fun.
I don't know if you followed it back then, but I was a big contributor as far as an opinion guy when they were designing 5e.
Oh, yeah?
And the first and second iterations of the game that they sent me, elves and dwarves had a special racial ability that allowed them to move the damage die up one step. If you were an elf, it counted for spears and bows, and if you're a dwarf, it counted for axes and hammers.
That would have been cool.
So that was like their racial ability. You know,
yeah, there
like
was a period where
Axe
D&D
Mastery
next
or
looked like it
whatever.
was going to be a great game.
Yeah,
There was
that was
really a
like the
period.
first packet, and it was in for quite a few packets, and then it wasn't.
Yeah.
That's sad. Because that would have been a lot better than what they came out with.
Well, their
Well,
biggest
I don't
mistake was
know. I
putting
was
the
sitting here
population.
thinking about, you know, your typical dwarf with a battle axe going from that die 8 to die 10. If he's got a great axe, he's doing die 12 damage. And your elf with the longbows doing like die 10 damage all the time. I mean, yeah, I guess it'd be pretty cool if that's what you want to do.
I mean,
And it could
would give
easily
them-
be added back in anyway.
yeah, true. It's not like you couldn't just like homebrew that in.
Yeah, you could just say, this is what elves get. They're really good with bows. So they do extra damage with bows. Okay. Whatever.
What I used to do with my dwarves was whatever the hit die was for the class, it went up one step for the dwarf if the dwarf was that.
You know, that actually was a good idea. I think in the first or second packet, like everything had the same hit die, but fighters got like some kind of bonus.
Yeah.
But then they got rid of that idea pretty quick. But yeah, I was one of those guys that they sent like, I guess 7 or 8 packets. And then I would send them back this whole filled out thing and explain what I liked and what I didn't like. And unfortunately, they removed a lot of the things I liked.
Yep.
Like the elf dwarf weapon specialization stuff. And humans had a cool ability too. It was like human adaptability or something where
Probably better than what they got with the whole +1 to every stat. That just like why?
the humans got like they got bonuses to stats, but they also got like bonuses to saving throws and all kinds of stuff, you know. I mean, nothing big, nothing that was going to ruin the game, but all of it was kind of cool, you know. Like
I could see that at least, but
and their
really they need
reasoning, because they gave the reasoning for everything, their thoughts, and it was Merle's was that, you know, humans are the basic class, but there's got to be a reason why they rule the world. So his reason was because we're basically luckier than the other ones, and we have a tendency to survive things we shouldn't. So while a human might not be as good with a bow as an elf,
I think
if
they
you make
really
that save and throw and the elf
did
fell,
need to
it don't
change the
matter.
human, especially since everybody picked the variant human anyway. Everybody did. Nobody was going to pick base human.
Well, in OSC, they have a rule where you can lift level limitations on all the demi-humans, but if you do, then humans get like +1 con, +1 charisma, and every time they roll their hit points, they get to roll 2 dice and pick the highest. And that's to balance out the lack of night vision and whatever else.
But that's just it. You know why people choose variant human over base human?
Night vision?
No, free feat.
What?
Variant human gets a free feat at first level.
Oh, a free feat. Yeah.
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 No, 3 feet. They're 3 feet tall. That's why we go for the variant human.
Well, they could be.
I guess. No, what I
In
meant, but
the new game, when it lists human, it's like 2.5 to 8 point whatever feet tall or whatever. It's like, really? Okay.
I guess
I
you
mean,
play a midget
they're
now.
not wrong. I mean, my brother-in-law was almost 7 feet tall, or is, I should say, not was, is. But, and there are dudes running around there like 3 feet tall, like the guy who played all the Oompa
Mini me.
Loompas. Yeah. You know, the guy that played the Oompa Loompas was in the Flash Gordon movie.
Huh.
Yep.
Yeah, when the princess comes walking into Ming's hall, she's leading him around on a chain. Like he's a pet.
Oh no! In the days before CGI and what's his name, Peter Dinklage being a cunt, little people got work in Hollywood.
Yeah, this guy apparently has managed to stay pretty busy. In different movies, mostly Italian films, but
Well, that's merely because if you watch any Italian cinema, they love little people.
yeah, but he is in that one. Another person that I think is in the Flash Gordon movie, which is really crazy, is the writer and one of the actors from oh Jesus. It's just a step to the left and then a jump.
Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yeah, the guy who played Riff Raff, who
Yeah,
is
that's,
also like the director and shit, is
yeah,
one of the Arboreal guys.
I can believe it. He's in the Dungeons and Dragons movie.
Yeah, so it's like somebody was like, "Hey, we're doing this film, and it's going to have a bunch of crazy transvestite shit." And
we're shooting it in
Loke
England.
is going to sing a
Richard,
song.
Richard, are you available, Mr. O'Brien? Yes, I am.
You know what I mean? It's like, I'm in. You know what
Hey,
I mean?
man,
Like,
listen.
so I get to hang out with Meatloaf and freaking Tim Curry. Yeah, count me in.
Listen,
There he is.
the only thing you need to know about about Flash Gordon is this. Hawkman, dive!
Yeah, dive.
No, you don't do a fucking impersonation on the heels of someone else's. That's just dirty pool, you fuck.
Okay, I'm sorry. Well, to be
Jesus.
honest, I cannot do.
The Irish are like the
Blast if I
savages of
wanted
the
to.
fucking world. I swear to God. I swear to God, no manners in Ireland.
Yeah,
None.
I couldn't do Brian Blessed if I was trying to be paid to.
I've legitimately been paid money to do a Brian Blessed impersonation.
Right? I mean, he is his own little thing, doing his own little thing.
Have you ever heard the story of him delivering a baby?
No.
Oh, you can find it on YouTube. He tells you the story of the time he had to deliver a baby in a car.
Huh.
And it is the most Brian Blessed thing you've ever heard.
What a cool name, too. You know, like you introduce yourself. I mean, I'm sure he may have picked it, but still. Brian Blessed. Or Blessed, however he says it. That's still pretty damn cool, you know? It's like, I got all my shit together. But anywhoozle, yeah, I mentioned that we were talking about it. And I decided that I'd been making a lot of negative videos, so I wanted to make a positive one. So I made a positive one, saying nobody needs to worry about any of it. If Wizards of the Coast vanished off the face of the earth today, it wouldn't matter.
Yeah, tabletop gaming will still be there.
Yep. There's just too many great people out there. And some not so great people, but hey, whatever.
And
That
a bunch
are
of
just-
books you could choose from.
Yeah, they're making games. You can just order print on demand.
And Canadians. There's good people, not so good people, and Canadians.
Canadians, I think, count as good people. But
As long as they're not at war with anybody.
Unless you're at war, because they look at the war crimes thing, and the Americans have to be like, that is not a checklist of things to do.
Geneva Convention, more like Geneva Suggestion.
Geneva Suggestion, please. Yeah, it's not the Geneva Suggestion, please.
Right? It's like, you guys need to calm down. I know you're angry because you're over here in the trench and you're not able to watch Red Green and eat your freaking back bacon or whatever the hell you call it. But, this is a gentleman's war. Now mind the mustard gas. All right.
Yup.
I think once you start slinging chemical agents at each other, it's no longer a gentleman's war.
Gentleman's war. Yeah. You don't get to. You can say we lined up in big long lines and took pot shots at each other in unison. Yeah, and then the mortar shells start flying.
Then you start melting people's lungs out and stuff. And even the Austrian painter, considered one of the most evil people on the planet, would not go that far. That was the line he wouldn't cross. You know what I mean? Which was a smart line, because if he started playing that game, the Allies would have started playing that game. And Germany's not that big. Unless
especially when he has allies in virtually every direction.
The last thing he would need is like a bunch of B-17s dropping nerve agent on freaking Berlin. That'd be the end of that.
I can't tell. Bear, have you frozen or?
I think he.
He was freeze. He's
no,
like,
he's still
in another world.
Disapproving look.
Just must we discuss that entire thing?
What, dropping nerve agent on Berlin?
You know what I mean.
I mean, Trench Crusade kind of came up, and it's World War One. So if you talk World War One, inevitably World War Two is going to come up.
I must, obviously. Like you can't just have a discussion about the Great War without immediately discussing Hitler. I swear.
He was in the Great War.
When I took my classes on the history of World War One, 50% of the class was talking about World War II.
Why can't we talk about Wilhelm II?
Yeah. Why are we discussing the Napoleonic Wars?
They're boring.
Yeah, they're boring, but we could talk about Hitler. Yeah, fucking fetishists.
Okay, fine. Besides, everybody knows who my second favorite human being on the planet is anyway. Or to ever be on the planet.
Wow.
I honestly don't know, and I don't want to know.
I've told you before. It's Alexander the Great.
Oh, it's Alexander the Great, not Tsar Nicholas. My apologies.
Oh, the holy martyr Tsar Nicholas, blessed be his name. I've got an icon of him on my wall.
There you go.
Was he actually ordained the saint? I wasn't aware.
A martyr.
In the Orthodoxy, not in the Catholic.
Yeah,
I know. Yeah, I just didn't know the Orthodoxy.
But you know what? F them. They're not really people.
What? The communists who massacred the Romanovs don't like the Romanov patriarch.
But anyway,
say it ain't so.
No, Alexander was awesome.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
He was all right. I'm more of a Caesar guy.
But I mean, if you're into a guy just massacring Celts for no good reason, I guess.
And Alexander didn't massacre everyone that he get into contact with for no good reason either.
No, he had a good reason. He wanted to conquer the world.
Yeah, pretty good reason.
So did Caesar.
No, Caesar was just selling Celts as slaves. That made all of his money.
How about Constantine the First?
I mean,
Constantine was pretty cool.
Recapturing Rome.
This is a really awesome city I run. This is really cool. I'm the emperor. This is all. What do you mean this Christianity shit's gained popularity? What do you mean they're gonna cut my head off of it? I'm Christian. Yeah, hey, I'm Christian. Woo, it's the religion, people.
That's not true.
And they're
That's
all
not how
like,
that works.
Constantine,
That is not how
converted
that
the
happens.
empire.
Yeah. I had a vision. I saw a cross in the sky. Oh, whatever. He was just trying to protect his ass from the
Yes.
political climate. We all know it.
Hey,
They were all. Did you realize that universally, up until that point, most of the Romans in power and most Romans in general were.
You realize
pagan.
that all the bullshit about
In
Christians
fact-
being fed to the lions, there's not one documented piece of history that proves that.
but I've
So,
got another. I've got another.
Why would the
question
Romans?
here.
Why would the Romans ever document? Why would the Romans ever document?
Concocted by the Christians.
Okay, Bear. Why would the Romans ever document?
They
them killing
documented
their slaves or the ones they were
everything, and we can find lists of people fed to lions. We can find social groups that were purged. The Romans documented everything. The only other people who, in the ancient times, who documented as much as them are the fucking Sumerians, buddy.
They did like the
They can
document.
choose when the Romans were specific. The Romans were always specific.
Well, they
Just-
were an engineering people.
Certain gaps in the story of how bad the Romans were versus what the Romans actually recorded.
Well, there were some of them that were really bad.
Yeah, Pilate not being one of them.
I never said Pontius
Gabulus
Pilate was bad.
was really
I never said
bad, which is why they killed him.
Nero.
Nero was
Nero was
probably
pretty
the
bad.
bad.
Nero is a product of propaganda, though. You got to be careful with Nero because there's a lot of documentation that he
Oh, that's
wasn't
true.
as bad. He just had a lot of political enemies who wanted to make him look bad.
Yeah, Caligula was another one that it's dubious on whether or not
Yeah.
like all the claims
He
about
was
him
crazy.
were propaganda or if they were genuinely insane. We don't know because again, he had a lot of enemies. It's the same thing with Richard II that they claimed that he was gay to slander him, and it's like there's no extant evidence that that's true. It's just something that came up after the
Yeah,
fact.
it's the same as
you know?
one of the guys, I think Duke of Marlborough or whatever, during the English Civil War. They claimed that his dog was a familiar from hell and that he had sex with it. Because he was a cavalier and he'd have this big ass poodle that ran along with him. So
I mean, if you're getting torn apart by a gigantic
the
dog,
lobster tails, as they are called, were just making up the worst kind of lies about this guy.
I mean, even some of the stuff about Vlad Tepes might have been exaggerated because a lot of it came from the German Saxons, whom he was persecuting. So, a lot of maybe the whole cannibalism stuff wasn't true.
Well, here's the thing, though, with the "I saw a cross in the sky" thing. My only response to that is, well, how do you know he didn't? You know?
Yeah.
It's because I'm going to apply Occam's razor.
Well, Occam's razor says that he saw a cross in the sky. It allowed him to win a battle because his men were hyped, and Christianity conquered the world after that.
Well, maybe that's what it is, but at the same time, Occam's razor also says propaganda seems far more likely than magic event.
Well, actually, it's the simplest answer is probably correct.
So propaganda.
So the simplest answer could be he saw a cross in the sky.
No, because that requires magic
No, it doesn't. It requires a funny cloud formation.
Or him being crazy. That's fair. I'll take Constantine might
Or
have
he
been
could have
crazy.
been crazy.
I'll take that.
Nobles are inbred.
Yeah.
Or here's a theory, or maybe God put a cross in the sky.
That's as equally as arguable as any of the other theories. But I would also point out that the word arguable has a lot of leeway. Case in point, I am arguably the greatest astronaut who ever lived.
No,
and I
but
can
you are
argue that
down.
point. I can argue that point forever. You know what I'm saying? Doesn't mean it's true. It just means I can argue it. Which is why when
I
people
would
start
say
using argument,
we'd have to see how you do. We'd have to put you on a shuttle or something.
oh no, we're having an
See how it
argument
works out.
debate. I am arguably. You're missing the point. I am arguably, not demonstrably. I'm not demonstrably the greatest astronaut who ever lived. I am arguably the greatest astronaut who ever lived.
This is you know what
This
is?
seems
This
like
is
a lot
like
of
this
petri
is like
based entirely on
Tumblr
semantics
atheists
on
from
bias.
like
No,
10 years
this is what academics do to each other. The people that write all these books about Rome and Constantine that everyone loves to read and quote and make reference to. This is what the people who write these books do to each other in social conversation.
Oh,
They
yeah.
argue and they play the semantic game until the end of time. I am renowned for being anti-semantic, so it all works out well for me.
Did you say anti-Semitic?
Anti-semantic.
Oh, I was going to say,
Semantic.
wow.
I'm anti-semantic.
I didn't know that about you, Bear. I was going to say that. I wouldn't have guessed. But anyway, yeah. There's some guys that do cartoons for Trench Crusades, and they have one where a Trench Crusade artillery witch, which is basically a creature of the Inferno, becomes an atheist, and it sneaks up on some trench pilgrims.
Oh,
argue
this is dreading on,
Christianity.
yeah.
And it turns
This is
out one of the trench pilgrims has like all these PhDs from having studied theology
From New Antioch.
and how he wrote his doctorate
I think he's
thesis on like
on the prophetic
the exogenesis of Christ and the Trinity.
Of Isaiah or
Right.
something like that.
And
It's
all of a
like-
sudden the trench the artillery witch is all like
I don't want to make a big rigmarole about this. I'm going to leave it to you.
And the trench pilgrims are like, no, don't. Let's talk. Let's hear your point. And the trench pilgrims.
Hey, that's what separates us from the animals. A debate is what separates us from the animals.
And
And
then the next thing you know, this evil artillery witch is being taught theology by Castigator, which is an Orthodox priest.
Yeah, I do love the fact that it was the two regular guys slumming in the trenches who are more like, no, this is actually
and the one guy's like, what are you doing in the trenches?
The Epicure. Have you ever tried getting a job with a theology degree?
Oh, have you ever tried getting a job with a theology degree? I mean, I had to do something. So he's hanging out in the money trench.
He could have become a castigator.
I think he was wrong religion. He was part of New Antioch, and those guys are generally. Janet, how you doing, Janet? Happy Valentine's Day to you too. My wife is making me one of my favorite dinners, and I bought her some flowers. And even though we don't go too big on Valentine's Day, but we do little things just to be like, you're cute. So, she also bought me some sugar-free candy, so that was nice of her, because that shit is expensive. Sugar-free Russell Stovers, and you still got to be careful because it's still like 200 calories a piece. It might not have any sugar in it, but it's got every damn thing else in it. But regardless, it's good to see you. I am painting. I just finished putting the green on these trench helmets, and now I'm getting ready to add mud red and a bit of cream color. And then if I'm feeling especially hardcore, I'll actually paint a black line between the colors, because apparently that's something they did a lot in World War I. Even though these guys are ghosts, so their equipment's going to be really.
Oh, they're the trench ghosts, are they?
They're my favorite.
I'm going to bounce.
They're pretty cool.
I'm going to bounce and leave you guys to your minis talk and enjoy it and thoroughly. Please enjoy it. I'm not leaving because I'm like me. I'm like, I'm going to just go do some writing or something. So enjoy your trench war talk. We'll see you next time. When you're doing a D&D topic, I'll be back.
All right.
See you later, man. But question,
Quick,
James.
now that Bear's gone, what's your favorite role-playing game?
What's my favorite role? Swords of Wizardry. So it's Wizardry complete.
White Wolf.
Anyway,
I don't
no,
know.
the castigators are they all Orthodox? The castigators?
Well, they're all wearing Orthodox crosses and stuff, so I'm gonna go with.
I thought it was just in a like this example of a castigator, or this is just the general aesthetic.
Well,
because
the trench pilgrims that are typically Roman Catholic have clerics.
Fair enough. I'll give you that.
Or no,
yeah, the trench pilgrims are
New
really...
Antioch has clerics. They don't have castigators.
Okay.
But trench pilgrims
That's
got
true.
castigators. They don't have clerics. And then,
Right. Fair
of
enough.
course, the other army I'm working on, the Vatican Strike Force, they have clerics, but they don't answer to New Antioch. They, there's a short
Oh, yeah,
story
they just
where
like
this guy who's a member of the Vatican Strike Force walks in, and the guy's like, "That's so and so to you," because he's an officer. And the guy, the Vatican,
Yeah.
the Swiss Guard guy, basically is like, "I don't
Yeah, the
answer to
Swiss Guard.
you."
Yeah.
Read this note
Answer the
and shut
Pope.
the f
What?
up, or something. It's like,
It's like what do I have to fear from the Duke of Antioch? I
yeah,
answer to the
it's
Pope.
like you're like, I don't
Fuck
answer
off.
to you. I don't know.
It's like you hear a Space Marine like mouthing off to a custodian, like he's like a chapter master, and he doesn't know it's a custodian, and the custodian just tells him, I'm the bodyguard of
Right.
the Emperor.
And that's basically what
I
it
don't
is.
answer. I don't answer to you.
But the different forces,
Yeah.
even of Christianity, they sometimes get a little wild and woolly when they're out in the trenches,
I mean,
even
look
with
at the,
each other.
Yeah, look
And
at
trench
I mean,
pilgrims will pretty
like
much
all
kill
the
Muslims on sight. It's pretty
Yep.
much a kill on sight, even though the forces of New Antioch will team up with them a little bit. But trench
yeah, but
pilgrims are like, nope, heretics. They die.
there are certain members of the Iron Sultanate who they'll work with New Antioch and such, but if you try and stop them from doing their job, they'll just
Yep.
kill you. No hesitation. They
Well,
will
you have
just
to
kill
remember they're mad because, the Crusades. And
Yeah.
the trench pilgrims tend to be the craziest, most hardcore of all the.
They're the people who saw visions of the future and of damnation and thought, I'm gonna
Yeah, I'm
stab
gonna
that
go
to death.
stab that thing.
So, yeah, God said, this is what'll await you, and they went, fuck it, we ballin'. They're like they just don't care. So of course, you don't believe, like, you reject the Son, you reject the militant Christ the Lion, and like, well, not exactly, but yes, stab. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I can't
Yep.
fault them. On some level, like, it's just if they were following actual, like what I'm doing, the actual, Catholic theology, like the Muslims absolutely would be the bad guys.
Well, they kind of
I'm
are.
sorry.
Have you looked at the art?
Yeah, some of them. Yeah, the brazen. When I heard the brazen bull, I was just like, you do like they don't just make them look similar to the bulls in hell. They like scatter. I keep forgetting the second part, but the Irish YouTuber who talks about Trench Crusade a lot.
Scanner Barkley.
Scanner Barkley, yeah. He it's like some of the descriptions he gave, that in hell there are brazen bulls in hell's territory, and the Iron Sultanate, who are on the hell side of the divide, have brazen bulls.
Not only that, look at the Iron Sultanate assassin. The picture of him, he looks more evil than the actual infiltrator from hell.
Look at the fact. Look at the fact that they're like the homunculi and all the lions, all that shit, and then you remember. Now, obviously, the Vatican has stuff similar to that, but it's again from the body and blood of Christ. So you can at least say, okay, this is at least, although weird and possibly antithetical, it's at least from God.
In theory.
Whereas we don't know where the Iron Sultanate. Yeah, in theory. Whereas you look at the Antioch guys, well, there's actually a thing in hell called the School of Metamorphosis. And we don't know where, like, they just got it from alchemy and magic.
I do know, that's the thing. The Islamic alchemists are using goetic magic that they learned from the Lesser and Greater Key of Solomon, which is the exact same magic that the forces of hell are using.
Yep.
So they may as well just be the same damn thing.
Yep. I mean, like I said, in the game I'm designing, there are 4 playable races. One's an inspiration from RoboCop in that they're like golems. They're basically God puts their soul like
Like
there
the
are
Jewish,
artificial
the
golems,
Jewish
obviously.
myth where you
Yeah,
create a giant golem and carve the name of God on it.
or you stick a scroll, a magic scroll
Right,
inside
and
its
it
mouth.
brings it to life.
With magic words. Yeah, this is the same thing.
That's
But this
there's
requires
the story where they
Cabal.
made a golem in Warsaw.
Cabal, yeah, and yeah, essentially the guy who created it wound up destroying it. So before it got too uppity, so it looks like a big hero. But in my version, it's just I'm just using the name
Yeah, they're
for
very
a namesake
dangerous.
because it's very. Oh no, they are. But in my version, it's like RoboCop that he got brought back to life. It's the human soul revived in its body, but augmented with metal or gold or wood or things like that. So they just have the namesake of Golem because it's iconic. But it's also the same project that brings the actual automatons called golems back. They are using this kind of magic because they have no other choice. You know, there was like we needed I think in the timeline they used this magic because they needed soldiers really fast, and well, it was useful, so they just kept doing it. Yeah, I know.
I know.
Look when you're, I know when you're fighting against hell, man.
Yeah,
Sometimes
but
you don't
when
have an
you
option.
look into the abyss, be careful that the abyss doesn't look into you.
It doesn't look like look. Well, there's also a guy gave me a cool idea. It was from John D. called Enochian Children, where these are basically like I wanted like a dwarf, an elf, a halfling, and a half orc equivalent in the game. And the Enochian Children are the dwarves. Essentially, what happened is the like John D put forth the idea of what happens if you make a child go isolated. Well, it starts speaking in the tongue of the Lord. So the idea is these Nephilim are basically he's some
I
he's
know
some
who he is.
occultist.
He was a very very popular occultist back in the day.
Yeah.
And Aleister Crowley based a lot of what he was doing on not just John D. There was another guy that he worked with. But it involved a lot of alchemy and goetic study, and part of it ended up leading to the Golden Dawn and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, they didn't like that. Like William Butler Yeats, who was a member of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, fucking hated Crowley. He hated
Crowley
that guy.
was a member of the Golden Dawn, but then I think he either quit or they kicked him out.
Oh, I think they kicked him out.
He was always complaining that they never actually did anything.
Yeah, and then he sold all their secrets, and
then he moved to Spain and started a sex cult, and the Spanish eventually got mad at him and deported his ass from Spain.
He also went to Scotland and bought a mansion by a lake and did like really demonic rituals. Yeah, I don't know if it was Loch Ness. I might be wrong.
Yeah,
but I don't
it was
remember.
Loch Ness
and
because
he would, like,
John Bonham, the drummer of Led Zeppelin, died in that place.
Yeah, I mean, he did something to the house where it got, and they burned it down. He also masturbated into the lake.
Yeah, well, he was a big sex
and
and blood magic guy.
Yeah, he was big into chaos magic as well. He was fucking.
Yeah, he's a crazy guy. He always was, though. Like,
but anyone
from
who
the time he
dabbles
was
in
a kid, he is a crazy guy.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Yeah, but anyway, so these what I'm calling Nephilim, because that's basically what they are essentially what's done to them is that they're almost man as if he had never left the garden. Essentially, they're as close to that as possible. So
here's a question: if you were running a D&D game, you run sometimes white box. Have you ever considered
Swords and Street
taking the idea of Trench Crusade, you know, and then making it like the foundational part of a campaign setting?
Well, that's what I'm doing. That's actually what
but
I'm
it's
doing.
going to be
I'm making some modifications.
fantastical. It's going to be fantasy.
Yeah.
They're not World
Yeah.
War One
Well,
or
no,
two
not
or
fantasy.
anything like that.
No, it's World War. No, it is World War One, basically.
See, I'm saying keep
I
it
am making it.
medieval.
Oh, as in, like the Crusades and stuff.
Yeah, I wouldn't even do that. I wouldn't even place it in like the real world necessarily. I would like it could be any world except at some point someone did something that ripped a hole through reality and opened up a gate to hell. And then the player characters might start out fighting orcs and stuff that are, say, lesser minions. And the culmination of the campaign could actually be them traveling to the gate to try and shut it.
Well, yeah, I
which
even had an
would be
idea in the game. If someone wants to revive their allies, they like hell. The actual realm is going to be Dante's, and you can go into hell as
Right.
a mega dungeon, and then to get someone back.
But only if you're a paladin.
Oh no, not even. They have to. You don't have to be.
No, but that was a
paladin.
play on the old AD&D
Yeah,
art by Sutherland.
Oh yeah, but they.
The paladin in
Yeah,
hell.
but they.
Of course, I wouldn't play that
Yeah.
game with Let's cousin because I'm pretty sure I know which side he'd want to work for.
I'm like, I'll allow, like, if someone convinced me that I should allow people to play on the hell side, like, if they wanted the option just for
I
player
would
choice,
banish them from my house and table and tell them they're dead to me.
Look, my cousin probably wouldn't side with the.
I know, but I
hellside.
wanted to make you part of the conversation. You're being quiet.
Sorry, I had to
sorry,
go
Left
and
Man.
let the dog out for a second.
Yeah, you're being quiet.
And I
just
mean,
wanted
Trench
to bring
Crusade's
you in
not
on
something
that.
I know much about.
That's fair.
Well, we were talking about D&D, bro. And
Yeah, that's
making
what I
a
was-
making a setting like, okay, imagine if you're playing Forgotten Realms, right? And you know where the desert in Forgotten Realms is, the Anorak Desert or whatever?
Nope.
I don't know the
Okay,
topography.
anyway, if you start at the Sword Coast and
Anyway,
you
the
travel frickin' east, you will
West.
eventually get to this great, big, massive, giant desert that used to be a kingdom of mages, but they effed up thousands of years ago.
Yeah.
Right? Well, okay, what if
every
in the
time.
middle of that desert,
Every-
some adventurers found a thing that opened a permanent gate to hell? And then Cambians and shit like that started coming out and just attacking everything, everywhere. Just hordes of them all the time, every day, every night. And now all of the good guy kingdoms in the realms,
Cambians,
they're like
devils.
volunteering their armies to go to this place to try to contain it.
And adventurers would be trying to go and find a way to fix it.
That eventually. They would have to work their ways up. I usually let people in my game
I meant
start
for
at like
eventual.
level
It'd be the
3.
long-term goal, but yeah.
You know, I let them start at level 3 so that, because I mean, everyone at my table has played D&D so long that, I mean, it's like, there's no point in making them start at level 1 again.
I mean, that's what Gygax suggests in first edition anyway. Give someone enough XP that at least 1 or 2 characters are level 3.
That's what I do a lot of times, believe it or not, is I pick like one class and I find out how much XP it costs to be level 3. And I tell everybody you can play whatever class you want. You start with this much XP. So if the guy chooses to be a thief, a lot of times he might even be level 4. Because they require such a amount of XP. But in the long run, it's like, okay, these guys have played D&D for decades.
Yeah.
No one's really interested in starting off.
You cut out there for a second there, James. Something happened. But no, it's the same with me. I play with a lot of people who are not neophytes or have been multi-year decade veterans. I'm like, it's for my next campaign. I'm like, I'm gonna give the fighters enough XP to get to second level, and everyone else gets that amount of XP. I'm just fucking done with this.
See, I go with
that way
third
you have
because I like the number 3.
Oh yeah, I know. Maybe I might do level 3 as well, but that's the sweet spot.
It's not any more complicated than that. Oh, we've got a lost connection. It's reconnecting.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what's going on.
But
the internet's being janky.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, man. You love it when you have it and hate it when you don't.
Looking forward to tomorrow. First session of a game. Oh, we lost James.
Oh, yep. Wow, we actually lost him. Fuck. Whoops.
Yep.
Are we still going?
Your dark magic worked, didn't it? Trying to take over.
I'm not a fucking oath breaker. I'm a paladin. I know my avatar is a death knight, but that was just a joke because death knights are my favorite undead. God damn, what the hell?
With you, but it's fun.
Well, I know. I was like, well, this is awkward. Hopefully. Anyway, you were saying about we can keep going until James pops in. If we'll give it 10 minutes. If he doesn't pop in, we'll probably bounce. But what were you saying anyway, man?
Yeah, wait. I've been waiting for this game to come in. First session will be tomorrow. I get to play a gnome inventor. I got ideas.
I hate gnomes.
James is okay with gnomes. He hates the halflings.
I love halflings because unlike gnomes, they're actually in the fucking literature.
Well, technically, they were made because of hobbits, which was Lord of the Rings.
Well, they're called halflings in Lord of the Rings as well.
Yeah.
So, so they're in the literature.
Well, gnomes weren't they like, a different type of fairy tale or something like that?
Probably, or they're like garden gnomes, or like Scandinavian. He just likes them because he's a massive Rushaboo. He just likes like Eastern European stuff. I don't
mind either. I've played halflings and gnomes.
Yeah. I don't really hate gnomes. I just see them as kind of, and here's a halfling, but with magic.
I always think of them as more like the techie short race. The tech.
The what?
The race for technology.
Oh, yeah. Fair enough. Oh, when you said I said seki, not techie. I misheard you. Right. But no, I mean, like the halflings that I'm going for in my game, the one I'm making, are basically like Pinocchio, essentially. Like they're in occultism. There's these things called poppets. They're basically a witch's doll that traps a soul in them. So essentially, these are poor children who basically get trapped inside these constructs, and they can't leave until they die. There's James. Hey. What's up, man? Yeah, we had to host while you were gone. Look,
now he tried to use his dark magic to kick you.
I heard him talking shit about gnomes.
Yeah, because it's true. They're just halflings with magic. That's all. They're not in the fiction. They're not in the appendix.
Like every European myth, they have
mythology. I'm talking about in the actual inspirational material. There are no gnomes, but there are halflings.
In Sword of Shannara. They sure are.
There?
And they're not good guys either. They're assholes.
Wow. Oh yeah, no shit. No shit.
But I mean, in German fairy tales, there's gnomes. Then you got David the gnome and his relatives that live in Siberia who are bigger and wear brown hats. I mean, gnomes all over the place, man.
Yeah.
But hobbits are in the Shire.
I don't hate
my gnome.
I don't hate them, and no, they don't.
My gnome will be the front line.
Well, I mean, a gnome warrior is a thing that is a thing.
Yep.
They could get in OD&D. They could get up to 4th level as a fighter.
Right.
That's also, and coincidentally enough, why at 4th level in Thief, the thief gets the title burglar.
Right.
That's why. Because burglar was Bilbo's
I think-
title, and halflings can only go up to 4th level. So,
Burglar, go burgle something.
mhm.
Other player's going to be basically a beastmaster or ranger archer, kind of like a homebrew elf-like creature.
I never understood why people need to make rangers into archers, because like Aragorn, yeah, he used a bow on occasion, but he was a sword
know.
guy. Like the range, is it just because they're hunters? And people are like, well, in the medieval
Ranger
with a
is
bow.
100% just something that Tolkien invented, and
Yeah.
that just got
Believe it
swooped
or
into
not-
D&D.
Believe it or not, it was actually the guy who created it. Was a fan submission, and he based it off the Paladin.
Yeah, it's just
Paladin,
a
but
thing.
better.
I'm just trying to give you a good description of it.
Yeah.
No class system. I mean, he's just
Yeah.
basically an archer with like an animal companion.
Yeah. Fair
yeah,
enough.
that's what the Jaka Beastmaster is in Taslanta. They're just well, first off, they're Jaka, so they're kind of cat people, and they just put all of their skill points into bow and sword and scouting and whatever, and they get to start the game with like a falcon type animal.
He went with a mastiff.
A blood
think
beast.
I think my reason
He went
for
with a
taking-
mastiff. That's cool. I mean, big ass dog.
Yep.
Mhm.
He wanted to do the falcon, but he just one doesn't have the points, to start out with it, and two, he doesn't seem to like the way White Wolf does the falconry stuff.
Well, I mean, in Taslanta, it's just a free thing. You choose
think-
to be a Jack of Beastmaster, you get to start with a falcon
I
or
think
something
my
like it.
my apprehension towards the whole ranged ranger thing is just because I've played so much 5e, and rogues just abuse the hell out of ranged combat with their sneak attack that I'm just done with it. It's just
Yeah,
No.
it's stupid.
backstab, please. There's a reason why it was called backstab and not sneak attack, because you had to stab someone.
Well, you had
Thank
to sneak up on them though,
You'd have to
Yeah,
sneak
well,
up on him too.
in swords and
and
wizardry,
you
the
couldn't
way
just keep doing it. You had to
the
do your
actually
backstab, then you had to run away.
the thing is that actually with like swords and wizardry, the way it's worded, assassins don't actually have to gain surprise in order to stab someone with their sneak attack. They just need someone flanking them from the front, and they just hit them in the back.
that's
Yeah, I
some
know,
gory
it's-
shit right there.
Yeah. That's just nonsense. It's stupid. I don't like it.
I
It
like
turns
it just
assassins
because
into
see,
more like-
there's a balance for it, because the assassins in swords and wizardry don't get thief skills until 3rd level.
Okay, but
But they get to wear better armor. They get to use a shield.
Oh, they don't. They don't get better armor. They get shields, but they don't get like anything other than leather. They have a
Well,
better
then-
hit die, but that's about it.
You need to play a better version of D&D, I think.
I think swords and wizardry is just fine.
I would suggest OSC.
I've played OSC. I'm a swords and wizardry guy.
I just
Yeah,
don't like
OSC
it because
is-
it kind of gamifies it. It just turns it into more like a MMO, but pen and paper.
OSC is literally just Basic and AD&D got together and had
Yeah.
a baby.
I'm not
Just-
saying
and
it's
they loved
bad.
it.
I'm
They
not
loved
saying it's
it.
bad. I just prefer OD&D.
And for Basic, it's actually Moldvay Cook Basic, which is
Oh, yeah.
my favorite Basic.
Again, I'm not against basic or expert or anything like that. I just prefer Zero Edition. I want to get into Zero E and Chainmail, because a lot of people, like a lot of the gaps in the LBBs are actually filled in with Chainmail. And even Gygax tells you Chainmail is recommended in the same way that pencils, paper, and dice are recommended. Required would have been a much better word.
Actually,
but,
this is kind of why I like RuneQuest a bit on that, because if you wanted to play a sneaky character and backstab people, you can do that, and well, it does work well. It's just after you do it, you might want to have an exit plan.
Yeah. But if you're
Yeah,
like
if the guy don't die,
yeah,
you might
I'm
want to
on
be ready to
Mythmere.
run.
I'm on Mythmere enough that a lot of people debate how the rules work and stuff. So, people have these arguments a lot. So you learn more about the rules that way when people talk about it. But let me just see the assassin in Swords and Wizardry, make sure I'm not talking bullshit. Let's see
Kind
here.
of like my Blade Dancer. You're giving the ability to, you know,
Yeah, I
dodge and
may
parry a little
attack.
bit better.
Yeah, it says here assassins may attack from behind with a to hit bonus of +4 and inflict double damage. This damage multiplier increases the same level as a thief. Now, the thief one specifically states. Let's see here. Where's the thief? Here we go. Backstab. When attacking from surprise from behind, the thief gains a +4 to hit and inflicts double damage. So,
Mhm.
I mean, you can rule it that the assassin has to surprise as well. It might just be a typo, but I don't know. They still need to be flanked in order to get the benefit.
Yeah, but here's another difference, though, right?
Mhm.
The assassin in OSC, AD&D, basically all the other ones,
Mhm.
if it gets surprised on somebody and stabs them in the back, they get a percentile chance to immediately kill them.
Kill. Yeah. Again, this is because
That's
even
the assassination.
even the like there's like notes explaining in later versions there was like instant kill rules for like the assassin you could hire, not the class, and it says you can do that, but for the baseline like pre-Greyhawk stuff, this just didn't happen. They didn't have it, so
Eh,
it's not
I
for
don't, I
everyone.
don't know why it would be a thing because, I mean, at low levels, your chance of actually one-shotting somebody,
Are low.
well, it's you compare your level to their level, and yeah, it's very low.
And it's
Like
only
at
if I
level one,
remember.
you might have an okay chance at like I don't know, assassinating a goblin.
I mean, there's in 0E or not 1E, there was even restrictions on what you could like instant kill assassinate. I think it was like human types or something like
Well, it's
that.
got to be alive.
Yeah. So yeah, you can't do undead, obviously.
Yeah, undead or
Um,
right out. You're not
yeah.
doing any undead. That's just right
Ogres,
out.
ogres and trolls are too big, so you can't do them. Dragons, you
Yeah,
can't do
large
them either.
creatures. You can't do any kind of creature that doesn't have a distinct anatomy.
But you could do it with high level thieves or high level mages, like basically humanoids with class levels, which is what makes them useful.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, in order to assassinate something, it has to be medium or small, have a distinct anatomy, and you have to sneak up on it
Mhm.
and it not know you're there so you can stick a knife in it.
Yep.
And that's not always the easiest thing on the planet to do.
Nope. No,
And
it
on top of
won't.
that, I mean, the higher the difference in levels, then the easier and or harder it is to assassinate things. But the real thing is, an assassin could sneak into a king's castle and poison the king's food.
Yep.
Which is why kings have food tasters.
Yep.
That is a thing that an assassin can do because at a certain level they get poison use.
Yeah, in the swords and wizardry, they get it at first level, so they can use poisons and they can disguise themselves. But it's like it's like a D100 check or something.
Right.
So
So
like there are.
basically, yeah, like AD&D, basically, pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah, it's again. I think it was in Blackmore that stuff was implemented. I don't know like what was put into Greyhawk, the Greyhawk supplement. I know like there were stat adjustments. There was some. I think the Paladin came in Greyhawk, if I remember correctly. I think anyway.
Yeah, first off, the whole time I was a kid, I never seen a zero edition box set.
Mm.
And secondly, by the time I got a job and started looking at stuff, you
The
know,
AD&D came out.
it was like, no, my mom bought me AD&D. A box set of OD&D costs like $600.
Yep.
So
Scalpers,
it was like,
man.
I will never own that.
Yeah, scalpers, man.
And well, I mean, that was on eBay, and that was it was an easy thing to figure because it's the mid 90s, so you're talking about buying a 20-year-old game, at least, and they haven't made it in 25 years.
Yep.
So yeah, it was just going to be something that you were not going to have an easy time doing.
Yeah.
But now, because of that, I guess I just got to the point where I just don't give a shit. You know, it's like, who cares? I mean, AD&D is good enough.
Yeah.
Or something like AD&D.
Yeah. Like, I mean, there is a lot of overlap between 0E and 1E that you know. But I just prefer it because it's a lot easier to just it's a robust enough game that you can add on to it later if you want to do your own thing. It's easy to build from, which is why I like it so much. 1E is a bit harder to do that.
Yeah.
But, you know.
Ah, jeez. This drill bit is completely wrecked.
That bad, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, do be like that sometimes, man.
This one's good.
That's good. But yeah. Oh, did you hear? Just as a side note, James, have you been here? I don't know. I don't know if you play many video games, but have you heard much about what's been going on with Kingdom Come Deliverance too?
Yeah,
I have.
Yeah.
They're basically destroying what goodwill they may have had.
Yep. Well, I mean, the big one is like this is the biggest contention is
The
that
underage sex.
Yep.
Yeah, with the boy.
Yep. When I first saw that, like that, the thing of it was just two gay guys. I'm like, okay, wow, you reversed really fucking fast, Mr. Base developer. And then I heard how old Han was, and I'm like,
yeah, that just kind of creeped me out. I was like, wait a minute, that's creepy because you.
But it's historical. I don't. Oh, sure, whatever you say. What?
Yeah, I'm not
you know, this could be just as much as
I
didn't put it in there.
I did pre-book the game, but I was like, as soon as I heard more and more of this crap, I'm like, I'm not purchasing this. You know what? I'm okay with wasting $5 on. I'm like, I'm okay. I'll waste the. You know what? $5 versus $65. Yeah, nah. I think I'm good. I can't even play the first game anymore because of this. I'm like, no, you just ruined the first game for me. Thanks for that.
I didn't even get to finish
What's
it. I was
funny
going
is
to finish it, and this happened.
He was bragging so hard about how much better his game was doing than Velgard.
Like, dude.
And then he turns around and like shoots himself right in the foot.
In the foot. Like, no, he shot himself right in the face.
Right? Yeah. It's like, what are you doing, dude?
You're
Everybody who was liking you because you were the guy.
Then they got balled up by Embracer,
that told the woke idiots that they could get bent.
Yeah,
and now all of a sudden you're putting basically
DI shit,
really bad shit into a game.
He said that wasn't going to be in there because this was medieval Bohemia, and none of this would have been okay or in there.
Making sure there's a black guy in a game, yeah, that's bad.
Well, not just a black guy.
James,
it's a Munsa or a Musa. Which
dude,
we know for a fact never went there.
There's a reference.
I'm just saying, if you're going to add like underage minors, you know, being, you know, abused,
taking advantage of, yeah,
that's way beyond DEI.
That's just satanic. That's just evil.
That's into an entirely different situation, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, remember when he was saying, though, that it was going to be historically accurate? Now he put in a character that would not have been in there.
You know what? A lot of stuff is historically accurate. We don't need it.
Yeah, we don't need it. Sorry. I don't care. Like, you just no.
I
There's
mean,
also the fact
burning villages down and enslaving the women and doing all
Oh,
this
we don't need to
crazy
see
shit.
that.
Yeah, that's all historically accurate, but we don't
Don't
need
need
it.
to see
Need
it.
it in there for
No.
our
And
characters
here's the other side of this.
either
Here's the other s-
participating or anything.
I mean, there's a fucking quest in the game where you're in the middle of this bumfuck nowhere town, this little village, and there's a miller. There's a miller, like a guy who works a mill in the town, who asks you, "Hey, can you get me ingredients and instructions on how to make a bloody golem?"
The internet is not behaving today.
Yeah. It's like, "Oh yeah, let's make a golem, guys." What got He asked a total stranger to help him engage in Kabbalistic rituals.
Yeah, which would have been witchcraft at that time, basically.
Yeah.
I saw that and I was like, how? Why are you this stupid? Why are you this dumb?
Why are you gay?
Like,
Right? You are gay.
I'm just reminded of this old, I think, Islamic preacher. He said this: democracy is by the people, for the people, from the people, but the people are fucking retarded.
Yeah.
This is kind of what I feel like. I feel like my brain is leaking out of my skull. It's like, you really don't have no qualms about insulting my intelligence, do you? Okay.
Well,
Sure.
I had to
even with the
argue about
golem,
this
which
yesterday.
is you're not wrong, terrible. The other thing is unforgivable.
There was a guy I was talking to yesterday. He was defending all this. Like, well, it's just a choice.
No.
Yeah. There's actually a YouTuber. There was a YouTuber who's watching a guy called Worth a Buy. He's called Synthetic Man, and he asked him a question live, like, would you be okay with diddling yeah, and like not every choice is a good choice, and as it turns out, you can in the game. It's like, but it's a choice. It's a choice. Oh yeah. I don't care what you do as long as it's not affecting me, guys. I'm just a libertarian over here. Like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I can
That's
tell.
the short pad otaku argument.
Oh my god. It's also
Yeah.
as from Heels versus Baby said, we don't want to swing too far to the right, guys. We just want to be in the middle. It's like, get off the fucking fence, you fat fuck.
See, whereas I'm like, let's go to the right.
It's like right wing train making machine go burr. Doot,
Yeah.
doot, doot, doot. We're going.
Yeah.
No. It's just seeing what like Trump is doing, like the Gulf of America. I'm like, I actually can't believe he did it. I'm like, that's
Actually,
There's actually a reason why that
Babylon
happened.
B did a new one.
Hmm?
So it's the Gulf of America, and the Atlantic Ocean is being renamed to the American Ocean. Canada is being renamed to Gay North Dakota. And then England is being renamed to Americans, but with bad teeth.
Mm-hmm.
And Mexico will be renamed to America's Pants.
Mm-hmm.
For some America, Africa. Not sure why. Like,
oh no.
Yep, there he goes again.
There goes again. Wait for it.
Yep, I think that's when we'll kick
Yep.
him out again.
He's gone. Oh well, we'll give him 10 minutes, see if he boots back up. But yeah, no. Man, it's just so tiresome, Leth.
Yeah,
It's
I know.
just-
Every game's gonna be like that, though. I mean, Civ 7 has no American president as a leader.
Mm.
They
Look,
chose Ben Franklin and Harriet Tubman for that.
For which one was this?
Civ 7, Civilization 7.
Nice.
No American president, just
Very good.
Benjamin Franklin, which, okay, fair enough, and Harriet Tubman. That makes no sense.
Look, Look, man, I'm just gonna build a gaming PC and play like Doom and Thief the Dark Project and all the other older games that I never really got to play as a kid.
There,
So,
he's back.
hey, James,
Yeah, you know what? I think we're being DDoSed
Maybe.
probably, maybe.
because the internet's being so sketchy. You guys are going in and out and everything.
Actually, on our end, so it's not going in and out. It's you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that would make sense
Yeah.
that somebody would be trying to denial of service
Possibly.
on,
I don't know.
on me since I'm the one that put down Trump as your daddy. You know,
Oh,
there's probably a
the
lot of people
censors,
pretty
the
pissed
bots.
off about that.
Yeah, the bots are paying attention to you now.
Yeah,
Mm.
we got bots showing up. It's like, so
I don't know,
know.
man.
Maybe it's
I don't-
time to end it anyway.
Yeah,
It's
I
almost.
don't know.
Well, I think we're about to get chicken, so there's that.
Got to get some chicken.
Yeah,
Fried
from a gas station.
Oh, I just see. I had you on full screen. I didn't see the stupid Twitch bot in the chat. I didn't see that.
Right. So, you know, plus I can go hang out with the wife, see if
Yeah.
my 3D print is done.
Nice.
Do whatever I'm going to do, you know.
Yeah, bro. Just you do you,
But
man.
it's good hanging with you guys, and I
Yeah.
will catch you later.
See ya.
Yeah.
See
See
ya.
you later. Bye bye.